Hello and good evening, and welcome to the virtual college exploration for all North and South Carolina students. Thank you all for joining us. This event is sponsored by the Carolinas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers, CACRAO, and by StriveScan. Just have a couple quick announcements before we get started. First off, you have access to the Q&A button on your screen. You can click on that anytime to send questions to our presenters. Your camera and microphone are off, so our presenters cannot see or hear you, but you are able to communicate with them through that Q&A button. You can also sign up for more sessions on the CACRAO website. It's CACRAO.org, and that is going to be happening all this week, and into next week there's going to be some additional presentations. There's also a bunch of recordings on there from previous sessions, and this recording is actually going to be available within about a week on that same website, CACRAO.org. So if you want to come back to it, or if you have friends who are unable to attend live tonight, you can just let them know that that is going to be up there. So with that, I would like to go ahead and turn it over to our presenters.
Perfect, thank you so much. So I'm going to take a second to share my screen, just shifting over here. All right, perfect. So here we go. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Monday evening to join myself and one of our Northeastern current students to learn more about Northeastern University. My name is Kyla. I'm an Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions here at Northeastern. We are located in Boston, Massachusetts. As you can see, I'm also joined by a current student, or another face on the screen, so I'll turn over to her to have her introduce herself.
Hi everyone, I am Charisma. I'm a fourth year electrical engineering and music technology combined major with a minor in math, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today.
Perfect, so we'll jump right in and get started. Oops. So today we are going to be talking and learning all about Northeastern University. So we will be addressing our academics and our educational model, Northeastern's advantages, which are really rooted in our experiential learning opportunities for our students. We'll talk about our campus and community, and we'll also touch upon the admissions process as well as financial aid. But certainly most importantly, we will be able to have time at the end for any and all of your questions. So I know in the beginning our StriveScan facilitator mentioned using that Q&A box to send in questions. So feel free to send those at any point during the presentation. While Charisma and I won't be looking at them as we're kind of going through, we want to make sure that we address them towards the end. So feel free to submit them whenever you feel ready. So diving right in, Northeastern University really prides itself on providing you an education that matters and one that is better preparing you for life after graduation, personally and professionally. We offer a variety of different majors and minors and combined major options, so you truly can find something that you are interested in to study here. So we have over 250 majors and over 150 combined major options, which are interdisciplinary majors, where students are studying across two different fields that may span across two different colleges, or maybe they're housed in the same college, but you're getting that interdisciplinary knowledge. Combined majors function a little bit differently than a double major, and this is because you're completing about 75% of each curriculum and 25% of the curriculum is overlapping. So we promise that you're able to, pretty much graduate within a 4-year track, depending on experiential learning opportunities, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But you are able to graduate in 4 years, whereas a double major, you're required to complete 100% of each curriculum. So sometimes that can impact time to degree. All these majors and combined majors and a wealth of minors, which I didn't even fully mention, are housed across 7 undergraduate colleges. We also have an Explore program here at Northeastern, and so that's for our undeclared or undecided students. You can choose the major or combined major or the Explore program if you want to start off undecided or undeclared on your application. So know that anything that we are offering to you, you can choose on your application. With our Explore program, you have up to 2 years before you're required to declare your major. And during those 2 years, or maybe year, semester, whatever it may be like for you, you take classes across all the different colleges or kind of all the areas that you are interested in studying. So know that you have the flexibility to take multiple different classes and kind of refine where you think you want to be going in terms of declaring that major. You'll see on the screen too that more than 50% of our students have more than just one major. So there is definitely a focus and an emphasis to have students study across different disciplines, but it's also very much student driven. So we're seeing that students are interested, not just studying one major, but doing a combined major or double majoring or a major and a minor or a double minor. And so really focusing on that interdisciplinary knowledge. Something else that I want to mention too is Northeastern's educational model is flexible, it's supportive, it's guided, and it's challenging as well. But really with that flexibility piece, students have the ability to graduate in either a 4 or 5 year track. And we'll talk a little bit more about where that comes into play in a little bit, but just do know that that's kind of the groundwork for flexibility. But along with that, so in addition to all the different things you're able to study, Northeastern doesn't have a specific common core curriculum or general education requirements, but what has replaced that is our new path program. And so our new path requirement. And so our new path is our competency-based curriculum. And it's pretty much just competency skills that we want all of our students to have by the time that they graduate. So many different classes are going to fulfill these competency-based buckets, essentially, that will count towards your graduation. So Charisma, you mentioned that you were a combined major. You also have a minor. Could you talk a little bit about what your experience has been like as a combined major student studying across multiple different fields?
Yeah, of course. I love my combined major. I am so happy getting to combine, my love for like math and science, but also my passion for music. So when I saw this combined major, I was like, this was made for me. I love that I, have a little more to bring to the table, especially when I'm doing job interviews and things like that. I have 2 different fields of expertise, and that really, really helps me and gives me a leg up, gives me an advantage. But then on top of that, I really get to see how these 2 very different fields do intersect in a lot of my classes. And it's so weird. You wouldn't really think that, music and engineering go together perfectly well, but Northeastern did a great job of finding like a perfect mesh. And it just really makes sense to me. So I think that having a combined major is really unique. It's something, really unique to Northeastern, but I also just feel like I have so many more opportunities because of it. I can work in the music field, or I can work in the engineering field, or I could work at a company like Bose that combines them both. So I love my combined major.
Perfect. Sorry, I had to find the unmute button. All right, my mouse disappeared for a second. Thanks so much for sharing that experience. And I think, a piece that you touch upon as well is these combined majors are created by Northeastern, but they're also really student driven. So many of the combined majors and the combined majors that continue to, appear and be created are really, based on what students are coming and saying, I have interest in these 2 areas. How can we make that into a combined major? So thank you for talking a little bit more about that as well. So in addition to all of these different things that you can study and kind of, where you're going to be housed based on the major that you are in, I also just want to talk about the resources and support systems that you have here in addition to, when you'll be in the classroom and what you'll be studying. So at Northeastern, we have smaller class sizes. So we are a medium to large institution, but our average class size is actually 24 students, and 70% of our classes have 20 students or less in them. So, we're over 18,000 undergraduate students, but there is a focus to make sure that we have more of an individualized education, access, all of those things for our students. In addition to that, we have a 14-to-1 student to faculty ratio. Every single student is assigned an academic advisor based on the major that they are studying. And in addition, our faculty are required to hold office hours. So you have great academic support systems. We also have peer mentors, study groups. So even beyond, your advisor, which many other schools have, and, those faculty connections that you're able to create, you will be able to also work very closely with your peers within your classes as well. We do have an honors program here at Northeastern. This is something that, all of our students or all of our applicants are reviewed for. It truly is for our highly exceptional, highly talented students, and it's a great opportunity for those, top tier students that we're admitting to be able to invite them to the honors program and get some additional support, some global funding and things like that. but do know that there isn't any type of separate application. Every single applicant, everybody on, our Zoom webinar tonight, if you plan to apply, you will be reviewed and fully considered for the honors program. So Charisma, you have also changed your major 3 times. So I know that's a really big question for students, when thinking about support and flexibility. Could you talk about what it was like to change your major 3 times and how you're kind of still on track to graduate?
Yeah, for sure. So I entered as a music industry major, but to be honest, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I took my first semester with, the introductory music courses. And then my next semester, I was like, I really want to try something different. All my roommates were engineering majors, so I switched to mechanical engineering. I thought this was going to not work. I didn't think they would let me in. But what a lot of the colleges actually do is they give you kind of like a trial semester where you take all the courses and they just see how you do in them. And, you get a little more support from the college just to make sure that you're adjusting well. And then at the end of the semester, they checked in with me and said, how did that go? And I said, that went great. I really like this. And then they actually told me all about the combined major that they created. So then after that, I switched into my combined major and like I said, love it. But the really cool thing is that my advisors, I've had plenty of advisors over this whole journey, have really worked with me to make sure that the classes I've previously taken are not lost. So I did not lose credit. I did not lose time. I was, still able to use that. And they really went into my degree audit, which kind of shows you all the classes you've taken and all the classes you still need to take. And they moved things around for me to say, okay, well, you took this class. It's really similar to this class. So we'll count that for you. And that took a lot of stress off of me. I felt, really confident that I could graduate on time, and I will be graduating in 4.5 years. So not 4, not 5, but that's also with 2 co-ops and a minor. So I really love that. I didn't feel like I got pushed back too much.
That's such a good example of, the average, I think, college student does change their major actually like 3 times. It is something like that. So you are a perfect example of being able to have the flexibility at Northeastern to work closely with your advisors and to be able to truly find the path that you want to be on. So thank you for sharing that experience. So right alongside your classes that you're going to be taking, Northeastern offers you a variety of experiential learning opportunity. So experiential learning simply means learning through experiences. They are hands-on experiences that oftentimes, if not always, are directly connecting to the things that you're studying in the classroom, or maybe even are studying within your specific major. So our co-op program, global experiences, service opportunities, as well as research opportunities are the 4 kind of focuses at Northeastern. And really, this is what makes Northeastern stand apart from our peers and other colleges and universities across the nation as well as worldwide. So we're going to dive into each one of them in a little bit more detail, but before we do, I just want to give a really quick overview of co-op. So co-op is truly our most signature experiential learning opportunity. It is the advantage of coming to Northeastern. And co-op is when you take 6 months at a time working full-time for one of our over 3,000 global co-op partnerships. So this is where you are gaining hands-on work experience and building your resume before you're even graduating or physically holding your diploma in your hands. 11,000 or over 11,000 students are participating in co-ops every single year. 50% of our graduates are being offered a position from one of their previous co-op employers. And also Princeton Review ranks Northeastern as number 3 within their Princeton Review for career prep. So just, want to really focus on a co-op, but also we'll talk about all the other things. But just, want to really highlight that co-op program and drive home the fact that Northeastern will prepare you for a professional career after graduation. So I talked already a little bit about co-op. We have over 3,000 global co-op partnerships, but how does co-op kind of work is definitely a question that students have. So with our co-op program, majority of these positions are also paid. So this is a great opportunity for you to earn some income during your college career. When I talked about the 4 or 5 year track, Charisma is doing a 4.5 year track. Many other students do that as well. Co-op kind of determines this a little bit. So co-op, you are not taking classes during those 6-month chunk of time that you are working, which means that you do have to, at the end of the day, complete about 8 in-class semesters. It means that you're not paying tuition, you're not taking classes, but it gives you the opportunity to not just work for a co-op company within Boston or within Massachusetts, but really going worldwide. If you do 1 or 2 co-ops, you can complete, or your time to degree is typically about 4 years. If you do 3 co-op positions, your time to degree is typically about 5 years. We do have some example schedules coming up so that visually you'll be able to see it in just another slide or two, but just know that that kind of 4 to 5 year track co-op oftentimes determines that. With co-op too, this isn't something that you are just kind of thrown out there to figure it out on your own. It is a very supportive process. You are assigned a co-op advisor. You take a pre-co-op course before your first co-op, which you can do as early as the 2nd semester of your 2nd year. And during that pre-co-op course, your co-op advisor is helping you write a resume and cover letters. You're engaging in mock interviews. You're, learning what does professional dress look like versus not professional dress. You are, getting access to the full co-op database. You're applying for the positions, and your co-op advisor is just supporting you through that entire process. They're also your support system for your 2nd co-op and your 3rd co-op if you choose to do one as well. So it's not just kind of one and done either. They're your support system throughout the entire process. But really, Charisma, I want to hear from you about your first co-op experience. I know that you are in the process of trying to find another one as well, but could you talk a little bit about what you did for your first co-op?
Yeah, so I was a manufacturing engineering co-op at a company called Soul Medical in northern Massachusetts. So I really helped, I supported the senior manufacturing engineers with day-to-day problems, but on top of that, they really gave me a lot of responsibility. I was honestly pretty shocked at how much they trust their co-ops, but I really appreciated that. I got to lead my own projects. I got to complete projects of previous co-ops, and I also got to really learn how the whole trade-off process works. I got to give the new co-op my my old material and stuff like that, and I also got to interview new co-ops, which was really cool. So overall, I got a lot of hands-on experience and a lot of technical skills that I gained that I wouldn't have necessarily gotten in classes during my first 2 years. So I really, really loved my co-op, but on top of that, it gave me an idea of what I might want to do in the future. So I didn't really love the whole manufacturing part of it. I thought that it was a little too fast-paced for me, and so now I know that when I'm looking for my next co-op, I'm going to try to do something that's more R&D related, research and development, because I think that's more my style and something that I would enjoy a little more. So it showed me what I like and what I don't like, and also what I want to prioritize a little more. So I really appreciated that about my co-op experience.
Great. And I think that, you really hit the nail on the head with so many pieces of that. It's, a way to be able to figure out what you do and don't like. It's a way for you, you go on in your first co-op, and if you absolutely hate it, and if that's something directly related to your major, you can come back and change your major. So it's a great way to be able to kind of gauge what you want to be doing after graduation as well. The other thing too is we don't call them internships for a reason. I think you talked a lot about this, Charisma, is it's a lot more of an in-depth experience. You are not treated, like a college kind of intern or co-op. You are fully treated as the employee for the position that you've been hired to do. So they are very immersive, in-depth experiences. So thanks for sharing that. So the second way that our students are getting involved in experiential learning is through a variety of global opportunities. So we offer traditional study abroad. You certainly can take a semester and study abroad at a partnership or a global institution. We offer 4 to 6 week long programs during the summer called Dialogue of Civilizations. These are led by Northeastern faculty, and you also travel abroad with other Northeastern students. So it's a great way to earn some credit during the summer, be somewhere outside of the United States, but also travel abroad with your Northeastern cohort. In addition to that, we offer a specific program for our first year applicants called the NU In program. And like I said, this is unique or specific for first year applicants. It is an admissions decision, but it's a great way for you to kind of hit the ground running with a global experience. And you spend your first semester of your first year abroad at one of our partnership institutions. Typically, we have between 8 and 10 of them. And then you return to Boston for the springtime. And about 1,200 students participate in this program every year. So it's not like a small cohort of Northeastern students by any means. It is a large cohort of students going and participating in this. We also have global service opportunities. So Charisma, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk a little bit about what you did in terms of combining a global experience as well as a service experience.
Yeah, so I love the City and Community Engagement Office. They offer a lot of cool opportunities to be able to really engage with your community and different communities. And one of the biggest things I've done with them has been alternative spring break. So alternative spring break is a great way to spend your spring break really volunteering with the community and giving back in that way, but also you get to explore a new community. You get to travel domestically and internationally. So my freshman year, I went to a place called Plenitude, Puerto Rico. We learned all about permaculture. We lived on a family-owned sustainable farm the whole week. It was absolutely beautiful. It was such a new experience. I got to camp for the first time in my life. But on top of that, I really got to learn. I really got to connect with a new community, and I still keep in touch with them now. But then this past year, 2020, we were lucky enough that we still got a spring break because our spring break is a little earlier. So I got to go to the Dominican Republic and serve with a community called Seven Elements. And that was, again, just an incredible experience to get to know a community, and the work that they do for their community is so important. But we also got to have some fun in the DR. So there's really endless opportunities to be able to connect all of these four experiential learnings together.
Perfect. Yeah. And so, a lot of students that I interact with, spent a full semester abroad or did a dialogue of civilization. So I was so excited when I was speaking with Charisma to be able to have a different global perspective and really just combine that service component and the global piece together. So alternative spring break is open to any student. So if that's something you're interested in, absolutely an option for you. So that kind of segues us right into service opportunities. So in addition to those global-based service opportunities or alternative spring break, we also have students engaging in over 250,000 hours of traditional community service each year. So if that is important to you, if you want to make sure that you're going to have a school or a college environment where you can give back to the local community or the global community and that you have a support system to do so, Northeastern absolutely can provide that for you. In addition to, traditional community service, global service opportunities, we also offer over 50 service learning classes. And so this is a great example of experiential learning because there's a service component as part of the class that you're taking. So the service component directly connects to what you're learning in the classroom. Charisma, I know you did a service learning class. I also know that you participated in NU ACES, which is specific for first year students. So could you talk a little bit more about the service learning class and then also the NU ACES program?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the service learning course, I took the first ever music service learning course. It was called Music and Social Justice. We really learned about, the importance of art, especially right now in our current climate, and how to express yourself using that art and how to keep yourself safe using art. So I got to volunteer with an organization called Ballet Rocks, and they provide affordable dance lessons to low-income communities in the Boston area. And I got to know so many incredible people. I got to share my love for dance with them, and I still volunteer there to this day. I absolutely love the work that they do. And they're only a short T ride away, so that's our train. And I just love that they're local to us. But on top of that, I also am a part of NU ACES, which is the Alliance of Civically Engaged Students. So with NU ACES, there's always a big welcome week for the incoming class, and you get to spend the entire week serving around Boston the whole Boston community. You spend each day with 2 different service sites, so you really get to know the community, and then at the end you can pick a site that you want to return to for the rest of the semester and kind of form a bigger connection with. So that's a great way to get a good introduction into Boston as a city and how to connect with your Boston community.
Great. So just another, or just even more great examples of service opportunities here at Northeastern. So the last way that our students are getting engaged in experiential learning kind of within our 4 pillars is through research. So we are a Tier 1 research university, and we offer research as early as the first semester of your first year. So you do not need to be an upperclassman or really have any experience to get started in research. You can engage in research with a Northeastern professor or a PhD student or other students. You can lead your own studies, and we have opportunities across all majors and all subjects. So it is certainly not just concentrated to the STEM fields by any means. I love to kind of end on research because there's also, this great overlapping of all these four pillars of experiential learning. So we've already talked about, kind of combining global and service, but you can do a global-based co-op. You can do a research-based co-op. So all of these can very much intertwine. And I actually know a student who was on a dialogue of civilization in London, working on her research paper and got published while she was over and using resources within London to help her finish that research paper. So just another great example of being able to combine all of these different opportunities available to you. So how do you fit all of this in, right? So as a Northeastern student, you have kind of that 4 to 5 year track, sometimes 4.5 years, depending on transfer credit or what your major is or how many times you may have switched your majors and things like that. But I think this just gives you a few different examples. So please note that this is not, if you're on a 4 year track, this is what it looks like. If you're on a 5 year track, this is what it looks like. These are just example schedules for our students. The middle one shows a +1 program, which I did forget to mention that we offer 24 +1 programs where you're earning your master's degree in 5 years. But that top one is the 4 year track. So you can see the 2 co-ops, you can see a dialogue of civilization incorporated, as well as a study abroad opportunity, and then your other semester classes. That bottom one is your 5 year track with 3 co-ops. There's also a dialogue of civilization in there and a study abroad opportunity. The suns are kind of the vacation time and things like that. So it also is very much the culture at Northeastern for students to engage in summer coursework. Not every single student has to do it, but many students do. It is purely based on the number of co-ops that you are doing and participating in, but also those dialogue of civilizations that I mentioned are great ways to earn credit if you do need to take some summer classes, but engage in a global opportunity as well. So I just wanted to kind of visually be able to show you how you're fitting all these different pieces together. So with all of that, we also want to dive deep into what our campus and community is like. So who are Northeastern students? Who is our student body made up of? So we are a medium to large institution. We have over 18,000 undergraduate students representing 121 countries worldwide. So there certainly is a focus to get, students engaged in our global community, but we also want our student body to be reflective of the global community as well. You can see the breakdown of, different ways that students are identifying on our campuses, in addition to, all the countries that are being represented. And this is certainly a goal of the university to continue to, bring those numbers up and truly represent what the United States looks like, as well as our global community. And so that is a commitment that Northeastern has made, but even more is making now. Given everything that is going on, it is a big commitment to us to make sure that our student body is reflective of our whole global community, including the US. We have 10 individual identity-based cultural centers. So these are great spaces for students to go, whether you affiliate with them or not, or identify that way or not. These are spaces that are open to any and all students to engage in conversations, to meet new students, to engage in, festivals or events that they are putting on. But know that we have 10 specific spaces and centers for all of our students to use as well. And then kind of thinking about, the first year experience. So as a first year student, incoming and also going to school in the North, so we're speaking with South and North Carolina students right now, we understand that Boston is probably a little bit different than the Carolinas, for sure. So, going up to school in the North, you get to be able to experience all 4 seasons of New England. We are surrounded by beautiful, amazing cities and states that are all very easily accessible, even if you don't have a car. Portland, Maine is a couple hours away. New Hampshire you can get to in under an hour. New York City is about 3 hours away if you're driving, but there are also trains and buses and great public transit to be able to get and explore even outside of Boston and even outside of Massachusetts. As a first year student coming in though, when you're thinking about housing and where you're kind of going to be placed, you are in one of our over 20 living and learning communities. These are called LLCs for short. And so these LLCs are based on academic interests or personal interests. And so you get to be able to choose your top, I think it's 3 or 4 choices, and then you're placed with other students. So it's building that community. It's having kind of that icebreaker so you at least have one thing in common when you're going into your housing situation in the first year. All of our first year students coming in are guaranteed housing for 4 years, and it is a requirement to use university housing for the first 2 years. So just know that. But even beyond, where you're living and who you're meeting in that situation, there are many first-year experiences or first-year specific events that are held for you. So your convocation is the way to say, welcome to Northeastern, kick off your next 4.5, or 5 years. It's a great way to hear from our president and from, all the deans of the different colleges. And then that really kicks off into our welcome week, which I know, Charisma, I'm going to have you talk about Fall Fest in just a second, but there is a whole week dedicated to, the kickoff of the semester, but really integrating and welcoming our first year students that are new to campus. You have college-specific seminars. You have access to college-specific seminars. Our faculty hold different dinners if they are living in some of our residential halls. And First Pages is specific for our first-year students as well. So it's a book that you are reading, and then the author comes and is a speaker at Northeastern that you are able to attend. So that is something very specific to our first-year students. So Charisma, can you talk a little bit about Fall Fest, since I know that you love that and you wanted to specifically talk about it?
Yes, I love Fall Fest. It is one of my favorite traditions on campus. So every year, right after convocation, every club, every student organization, and Kyla's going to tell you, we have a lot of them, sets up a little table all around campus, and all of the first years get a chance to really explore. You not only get to know campus, but you get to sign up for clubs and, get to meet upperclassmen as they're presenting. But then there's a lot of other fun stuff. We have bouncy house and balloons and a lot of food and things like that. So it's really just a celebration of first years. And it is probably one of my favorite experiences all year round. I look forward to Fall Fest, and it lasts a few hours. So you really have the chance to kind of interact with your fellow first years, but also upperclassmen, which is a really unique opportunity for sure.
Perfect. I lost my mouse again. There we are. Perfect. Thank you. And I will even say, from the staff perspective, all staff and faculty join in this as well, because there is a lot of free food and we do get to go and learn about new clubs and organizations. So even though we aren't specifically signing up, it's such a cool thing to walk out of convocation and just see the entire campus lined with all of these chairs. Obviously, things look very different this year given COVID, but we certainly are very hopeful that come next year and the following years that this is an opportunity that we are fully able to take advantage of. So thinking, in addition to ways to get involved, I know Charisma said that I'm going to tell you how many ways you can get involved. So we have over 500 student clubs and organizations. So truly you will be able to find something that you are interested in here at Northeastern, including, Division I sports. So we have 18 teams across Division I sports. We have intramural and club sports. So if that is something that you're interested in, it's certainly available to you as well. And some traditions like Husky Hunt, which is a whole 24-hour scavenger hunt across the city of Boston, a great way to get to know and integrate yourself, not just into Northeastern's campus, but into Boston itself. Spring Fest is a music, festival. Welcome Week, we've already touched upon. Homecoming Week. Bean Pot is a huge hockey tournament between us, BU, BC, and Tufts, which we have been the champions of 2 years in a row, I believe, at this point, which is huge because we lost for many, many years. So folks are very excited about that. So there is a vibrant and lively atmosphere here at Northeastern. Students are actively and highly involved in a variety of different things. So Charisma, could you talk about what you're specifically involved in on campus and what your role is in those?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I love to do is I'm in an a cappella group. We're called Distilled Harmony A Cappella, and I've been the music director of that group for about 1.5 years now. So that's been so incredible to get a chance to, take on a leadership role that has something that I'm passionate about. On top of that, I know I talked about alternative spring break earlier, but I'm actually a coordinator for the program. I've been a coordinator for the past 2 years, so that's why I really love the program. I think it's such a great way to really engage with the community. And then along with that, I am part of Husky Ambassadors, which is the student tour guide organization on campus. I'm actually the recruitment co-chair for Husky Ambassadors. So that's how I'm here and getting to talk to you guys. And then lastly, I'm in a sorority. So Greek life is not super huge at Northeastern, but it is still a great way to meet new people. And I am the diversity and inclusion chair for my sorority.
Perfect. I keep losing my mouse. Sorry about that. Perfect. Thank you so much. And, even with, or I'm glad that you mentioned the sorority piece, because I sometimes forget to mention that on this piece of the information session, but about 12% of our students are engaged in sorority or fraternity, so in Greek life. So know that it is an option for you if you're interested in it, but like what Charisma said, it's not like the entire culture of Northeastern by any means. So I mentioned also that we are located right in Boston, Massachusetts. So we are an urban school. You have access to everything that Boston has to offer. Boston is also very much a college town, which some people don't know about it. There are 34 other institutions within the area, not including our friends and schools over in Cambridge. So you are going to be meeting people across all institutions. So you are not just kind of in your own Northeastern bubble. You don't meet any other college students. You'll be meeting peers and colleagues and everybody around all of the institutions. The median age actually drops 10 years during the school year as well, because there are over 250,000 college students coming and studying across the various institutions. While Northeastern's campus is a truly enclosed campus, so you have every Northeastern building within walking distance, we have quads, we have green spaces, we are located right in the heart of Boston, Massachusetts. What comes along with that too is great public transportation, so there are 4 stops on campus, the T, which Charisma mentioned, is like our subway, and then buses as well, so you have access if you don't want to walk around the city or you want to go further away from Northeastern's campus. But we do like to think of Northeastern as like the best of both worlds. So we are that true enclosed academic campus, but you have access to everything that the city of Boston has to offer. So Charisma, could you talk about maybe your favorite thing about going to school in Boston?
Yeah, I love all of the food that is available to all of us. We are really in the heart of Boston. We're just a walk away from the Prudential Center, which is like a giant mall, and it has so many restaurants. And then on top of that, there's so many affordable restaurants on campus that you can actually use your, Husky dollars for that Northeastern gives you. So I just love that there's so many opportunities to eat. I really love food. I'm a big foodie. But then on top of that, you can travel so easily to the different neighborhoods. So I love going to the North End for good Italian food or trying different cuisines. Like I went to Stony Brook, Jamaica Plain one time and had some Ethiopian food. So there's just a chance to really explore the food scene at Boston, which is pretty incredible if I do say so myself.
I would agree with you on that. And there's definitely a lot of culture and a lot of history. So you get to be able to, explore not just only a wide variety of restaurants, but a wide variety of museums and, cultural events and things like that. So Boston is awesome. I've been living here for over 4 years and I absolutely love it. So I can only imagine as a college student, it is great to be able to come up here and be in that urban setting. So now that we've learned what Northeastern is all about, time to think about the application and admissions process. So here at Northeastern, we use the common application and the coalition application and do not have a preference on either one that you are using. We review all of our applicants in a holistic manner, so we take into consideration any and all information that is provided in your application and any supplemental things that you choose to send along. So we don't have a traditional supplement on the application, but know that if there is additional essay or letter of interest or resume, we will take those things into consideration. Your application process is led by a specific admissions counselor. So I am the territory manager for both North and South Carolina. So know that I'm the one that oversees your applications. And then if you were going to school in a different state, you may have a different territory manager. So they are all based on specific geomarkets and specific areas within the US as well as worldwide. So when we're looking at your application, we take in consideration a variety of things. So your GPA, your academic rigor, the courses that you've selected, your performance in them, but we also look closely at personal characteristics. So that comes through your essay and activities list and letter of recommendations. And again, any other supplemental pieces that you choose to submit to us. This year, we will be test optional, like many schools that have moved to. Northeastern will also be test optional for you. So you are not required to submit standardized testing, but know that if you would like to, you are more than welcome to. In addition to, the common application or the coalition application, we do require some additional documents. So this includes a school report, a teacher and counselor recommendation, your official high school transcript, and I mentioned test scores only if you are going to submit them, since we are test optional. But know that after that application is submitted, there are some other things that need to be sent in and completed in order to complete your file. We offer 4 different admissions rounds for you. So Early Decision 1 and Early Action have a deadline of November 1st, and Early Decision 2 and Regular Decision have a deadline of January 1st. So just thinking about when your application will be the strongest, either in that November 1st deadline or January 1st deadline. So in addition to the application process, we understand at Northeastern that finances and financing your education is a really big piece of the application process. So Northeastern makes a promise to meet your full demonstrated need if you are an eligible student for need-based aid. If you will or intend to apply for need-based aid, we require both the CSS profile and FAFSA form. So eligible students for need-based aid are US citizens and permanent residents. So just want to clarify that as well. Any grant or any need-based grant funds that we're able to award you will increase at the same rate as tuition. And we also will take into consideration any negative changes in circumstances. So we will reevaluate for that. We also review all of our students automatically for a variety of scholarship and merit opportunities. And if we are able to award you scholarship money or merit money, that this would come through with your decision letter. You can also see tuition, room and board, fees, and things like that in terms of the total cost of attendance. Over 75% of our new students are receiving some form of financial aid, and this year, or this past year, we offered or presented over $300 million in the form of institutional aid and scholarships. So again, we are truly committed to making education here at Northeastern as affordable as we possibly can. So with that, I want to end with one more question with Charisma, or for Charisma, before we turn it over to all of your questions. But Charisma, could you just talk a little bit why Northeastern? Why did you choose or feel like Northeastern was the best fit for you after that you were admitted?
I love the campus. The campus is probably it's the thing that drew me to Northeastern. It is so unique to have a kind of closed campus inside of such a large city, especially when there's so many other universities around. I'm very short, I'm 5 feet tall, so being able to walk the campus in less than 10 minutes was a definite pro for me. But on top of that, it didn't feel like a city. When you're on campus, there's green spaces, there's lawn chairs, there's rooftops and things like that. So, you really get the chance to relax, and it feels like a backyard sometimes. I really love that about it. I just love that it's such a homely environment, and I can really get a chance to hang out with my friends in a place that doesn't feel like I'm surrounded by too many things and too many people, because that's what I was scared being in a big city would feel like, but it really doesn't. And I just love the campus at Northeastern, and that's ultimately why I chose Northeastern.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that. So if you do have specific questions for either myself or Charisma, please feel free again to use that Q&A box. I don't see any there right now, which is totally fine. But if there was a question that came up, or something that you even want us to talk more about, or you were confused upon, please feel free to send them that way. While we're waiting to see if any questions do come through, another question for you, Charisma, is just thinking about getting involved. And I know we talked a lot about Fall Fest and Welcome Week, but what about students who are starting in the spring semester through our NUN program, or how do you get involved outside of that big campus, kind of every table being put out? How can you get involved in clubs and organizations without it kind of being so upfront?
Yeah, for sure. So social media is a big thing. Almost every club at Northeastern has an Instagram and Facebook page, but along with that, we have a system called Engage, where you can see all 500 student organizations, and you can express your interest and kind of send them a message and say, hey, this looks cool. Can you send me some more information? And they'll have your email and they can reach out to you that way. On top of that, for NUN students, we actually do have a version of Fall Fest for the springtime, where we have very similar thing, except it's indoors, so we're all warm. And students can walk around and talk to clubs and really get a chance to get to know clubs because they weren't here in the fall.
Perfect. So we did have one question come in. Are there any vegan options in the dining halls? Can you speak to that, or do you want me to?
Yes, there are vegan options in every dining hall. We always have a separate vegan section so that there's no chance of cross-contamination. And we also take into account food allergies and things like that. So there are different sections of every dining hall that will have vegan options.
Perfect. And that applies to like gluten-free or any other allergies, or restrictions, whether that's, religious restrictions during certain times of the year. Just know that our dining halls are really great in accommodating with whatever Northeastern students need. There are a variety of dining options on campus as well. So we do have a few or a couple, traditional all-you-can-eat style. We have a couple or two local grocery stores on campus. We have grab and go options. There's a whole student center that has a variety of food options as well. So lots of places to eat and use your Husky dollars or your meal pass, whatever you're kind of signing up for year to year. There are also lots of places, which I know Charisma talked a lot about food within Boston, but there are some great opportunities for you to use some of your like Husky dining dollars off campus as well. So do know that are some options within there as well. I see StriveScan is popping back on. Do we have time for one more question or no? Okay, perfect. So the last question that came through, Charisma, is your favorite school tradition or favorite school traditions that you can think of.
Yeah, cool. So I'm in an a cappella group. Every year there's a big a cappella show called All Capella in January, where you get to hear from all 6 a cappella groups. That's really fun. And then the other one is Husky Hunt. I know Kyla mentioned it briefly. It's a 24-hour-long scavenger hunt throughout many states. So you get to, really get to know Boston and Massachusetts and New Hampshire and Rhode Island and that kind of stuff. So I love doing that. And you get to go on a cruise afterwards. So that's one of my favorite traditions too.
Perfect. And I know we're coming to closing, but I did just want to share my contact information as well. So if you have further questions or things that you didn't want to ask here, or, just want to check in and say hi, my email address is k.mcnally-anderson@northeastern.edu. You can also email undergraduate admissions if you want to just go more to the general inbox. And also, and certainly encourage you to take advantage of our virtual opportunities. So our campus tour, if you want to attend an information session or anything like that, do know that we have virtual options online as well. But I'll hand it over to StriveScan to kind of wrap it up and close us out. But thank you everybody for joining us. We hope that you learned something new about Northeastern and certainly hope to see your application soon.
All right, so thank you so much to our presenters for that great presentation, and thank you all for joining us. When you close out this window, there's a quick 4-question survey, so we appreciate it if you would fill that out and provide your feedback, and then you can sign up for more sessions and see this recording at cacrao.org, CACRAO.org. Thanks everyone, and have a wonderful evening.